And if we don't teach the kids, they will start, values. They will start to looking for other things around drugs and bad example in the girls who really had abused, the moms that were abused. Do you think, okay, they can find Bitcoin as a great tool, but they have a heart that is broke and a mind who is it's entenebrecida, it's like in dark, with so much hate. And we have people that are psychologists and the whole team that come across and to heal those problems that they came through in life. And there is so much child abuse, and we try to give the whole tools possible so they can say, I have hope, and also I have peace.
All right, everybody. Hello and welcome back. We are here today with the one and only Valentin Popescu. Please correct me if I pronounced that wrong. That's okay.
Pronounced very well.
Okay.
You're Romanian, that's bad.
Okay. Yes, Valentin is the head or one of the directors or the director of Motiv Peru, which is an NGO that uses Bitcoin to help financially empower people. And I'm going to hand the mic to him in just a moment for him to tell you a little bit more about it. But I want to give a little bit of a preface as to why I invited Valentin here today. Last week, or about a week and a half ago, I was in El Salvador, for adopting Bitcoin. And there were 3 people who brought me to tears, which doesn't happen too frequently. And Valentin's talk on the first day, a little later in the day, did that. You could tell that Valentin has a heart of gold. He cares deeply about the people he works with. He uses Bitcoin as a tool, not a religion or anything like that. It's a tool to help facilitate helping people, human flourishing, trying to empower people. So with that, that's where I'm coming to this from. I want to hand the mic over to Valentin to introduce himself. And I also want to thank him before we get started. English is his 3rd language. So I want to thank him for doing this in English. Valentin, over to you.
Thank you. Thank you, Frank, for let me introduce ourselves. Thank you for your, I hope you had a great time in El Salvador, as me as well, hearing about many stories. We, as Motiv, are just one from a few NGOs around the globe that try to educate and equip those impoverished with this tremendous tool that is Bitcoin. Motiv, it's a non-profit in US legally, and I'm the co-founder. The founder is an American citizen. And so in Peru, we start about in 2020, 2021 with small projects and trying to see how can Bitcoin can be a tremendous tool for those who are in banking.
Perfect. I appreciate that. And so my other question is, do you have experience, were you in the nonprofit world for years before you got into using Bitcoin in the nonprofit world? And then also, how long were you into Bitcoin before you decided to integrate it into what you do now?
Yeah, thank you for this question. Actually, I'm from Romania. I came in South America in 2000 in Argentina. So I have 7 years in Argentina and 17 years, almost 17 years in Peru. So since then, I was developing few type of programs, thinking on youth and other type of NGOs, organizations. So since I came to Peru, I discovered a lot of needs, but more than a needs, I realized that we have to be a bridge between the need and the resources. Unfortunately, there are so many politics, the friendship we call nepotismo or nepotism, and it's all about interests. And I try to be as much as possible use a tool. So many workers, organizations that are on the field can have access, maybe funds or to be know outside. Now, I'm a director of other NGO called Su Refugio Peru that works with widows and orphans. We have a orphanage, Hope House in Paraguay for those girls in abuse. In Argentina, there is a Christian school. And here we are working, we try to work on the communities, looking for those in need. But in 2000, the pandemic came. And, in the middle of pandemic, Peru was shut down like so much time. So it's there when Motiv starts. So I can say that in the last 17 years, I've been involved in all this amazing work of NGOs.
I appreciate the background. Thank you. Can I ask you what brought you to it? I have some members of my family who have done incredible work in Latin America over the decades, going back to the 1970s, and I've always been attracted to their hearts. Really good people who really wanted to help. What was it that attracted you to this type of work?
So in Argentina, I was traveling probably in more than 70–80% of the country, in schools, in different places, even in jails. Talked with especially the youngest kids that had problem with drugs, teens, youth, and I discovered that need, tremendous need even from the beginning, from the family education. And then when I came here to Peru, I discovered not just one culture, many cultures. And it was very interesting that, yes, all of the people, I think, have that desire to help others. But in my case, it's not just, and I'll be very honest, and when I'm talking, I'm very, I don't want to play as Santa Claus. Yeah, okay. Throwing candies to the people from the Uncle Sam and having me like, oh, I feel great, and that's it. No, actually, when I came here, I discovered a culture that they are waiting people from North. I don't want to say something about the color, okay, but they are waiting people from North, the blue eyes, that will bring gifts and taking pictures. And I said, well, I'm not criticize those who want to help. Right. But my question is, where are the leaders? Where are those who really have to be in the front for the needs of this country, Peru? Yeah. Now, you'll be like, maybe I'm very exaggerating, but let me tell you something, that the last 6 presidents that this country had, 5 are in the jail and 1 is below, on the ground. So the authority, the leadership in this country, it's a lack of leadership. Yeah. This is what I found are tremendous people. You have many climes. You have so many resources. You have jungle, mountains, coast, language diversity. People knows about Machu Picchu. People knows about the Amazon, the Anaconda. The coast have waves. The surfers, they love to come here. The widest wave in the world is here. But where is the leadership? Yep. So actually, one of my biggest goals, it's not me being in the front, pushing the resources to the people, is to create this example for the new leaders.
Yeah.
Pushing them on the front.
That is a big role to take on. And I'm sure a lot of people look to you, especially when you are sort of modeling leadership. Some people don't always take that as a signal to then follow your lead and become a leader themselves. Some people say like, oh, Valentin, well, thank goodness for Valentin, here's here to do it. So what sort of tactics or what sort of strategy do you use to actually sort of to actually empower people and hand over like, look, this is now your responsibility, and this is the road we have to be on if more people in this country are to become leaders?
This is a very interesting question, and actually, I think this is, if I can say, we use a tremendous tool, which is Bitcoin, and we'll talk about that. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, I think it have to be a balance between the leaders that are using, are empowering, are teaching this tool,
yep,
and the tool. Yep. The tool by itself will not jump from the telephone and will change the life of the person. It's the life who and the example that we have is about, okay, when we go to a small village, you tell them you need Bitcoin. Really?
Right.
I was many times at the doctor, and I remember when I said, "Doctor, I know you are busy. Look, I have this problem all the years. Give me this, just sign, and you free." And the guy was like, "So you give the diagnostic, and you know what you need, and you want to leave?" I mean, like, can I say something? You know? So it seems like sometimes when we are in a village, we want to fix things, which is a good attitude, but actually they don't know that they need that thing. And about the needs, everyone has needs. If you talk with Elon Musk today, he have a huge need for the next rocket.
Yeah.
If you talk with, I don't know, other countries, they need a huge, so everyone has need. It's not about the need. It's about talking to them and winning the trust. Now, how do you win the trust of community as an NGO? And honestly, I would love in the future to have kind of a manual from our experience, because it's not like I have this gadget that will change your life. Yep. We are there to serve.
Yep.
So in the community, when we get there, we try to looking for those people that have a heart to serve, because leadership is not about demanding and set up schedules, by the way. The secretaries are the best set up schedules.
Yep.
You don't have to be a leader for that. So when you get to a place, actually the people are looking for, okay, what candies you'll give us? And I'm not there to give candies. I'm there to listen. And then when it will open the heart and the mind, probably on Lima, which is the coast, 11 million person, maybe in the jungle, people are very open. They tell you the whole problem, more than I can ask. In the mountains, it's not like that.
Oh.
They speak Quechua. They don't trust in you. So it takes time. So what we do is trying to find, doesn't matter if it takes time, 1 week, 2 weeks, 1 month, those who have a heart. The leadership sometimes is in quiet in those places, because unfortunately the machismo has a big role here. Machismo, those men who wants to, Peruvians don't have too much sports. I mean, that they are doing very low in soccer, even sometimes good and for years, but they love some other types of sports, unfortunately, on the houses. So the major leaders we found now are ladies, single moms, who really have that leadership. I'm not saying take the flag like Che Guevara and Liberty or San Martin or Pizarro, Liberty South America. It's about serving, and having an influence in the life of the people.
You used the word serving in your talk when I saw you speak. You also used it when I spoke with you after your talk in San Salvador. I think when most people think of serving, it sort of goes hand in hand in most people's minds, kind of with like being really poor, martyrdom, like giving your life over to something. So when you're talking to a single mother who obviously has her hands full with her children and earning money to keep both her and her children alive, why is the idea of serving why is that something that's appealing to them? If why is another sort of responsibility appealing to them?
I think those who really start to act, it's about looking for justice. Most of the ladies that really want to do something in them community or men's, it's about they saw so many injustice, they was forget and abused. So this is a circle, but anywhere I can find one example. We call remanente, like the faithful person. You'll find there, but they don't have a T-shirt, like Bitcoin for everyone. I'm leader for no. you don't find a hat, a flag. You have to just knock the doors.
Yep.
And for example, I'll give you an example. Okay, when we start Motiv, actually, why we start Motiv, we didn't know that Motiv will exist. Actually, when Rich came in 2029, Rich, the founder, my friend, he came to Peru and he said, okay, let's plant a playground in the middle of the Andes. And that's it. I'm coming, I plant the playground and I leave. Okay, but I thought he'll bring a team. And he was by himself. I said, wow, you'll fail me, high altitude, 4,000-meter altitude. I don't know how many feet, maybe, I don't know, 1,000,000 feet. So very high, a very remote, small place. He's a soldier, ex-soldier, ex-LAPD. I mean, he has so many experience. I'm more, in a little town, in a capital. So I say, I don't know if I will be so helpful to dig holes in the rock, in 2 days. But was very interesting to see how God guided us to that place and found the story, how Motiv. That's why the word motive. It's a reason. It's a motive how we start.
Yeah.
So I'll be very quick in that. In a moment of working, I was very tired. I couldn't have my breath. I stayed down. I tried to drink a little bit Coke and have my cereal bar and a kid. The kids are playing around you. Yeah. They want to see the pieces of playground. Was like 50, 60 kids around. But one of the kids was like, he wasn't with the group. He was walking around and he came to me and he literally stopped to in front of my face, and I was, chewing. And of course, if a kid come to you and I ask him, in my stupid question, "You're hungry?" Of course, a kid wants something, but he was like, "I don't understand you," and I said, "I'm sorry, I don't speak Quechua." So a girl came and she said, "He's hungry," and I said, "Oh, it's your brother." "No, it's not my brother. It's the orphan from the little town." The orphan from the little town. How? Wow. Well, yeah, his mother died. The father, he is a guy who just lives on the bar and he lives by himself in a house. And I look at this kid and I said, I'll broke my first rule. I normally, like I said, I have 17 years here. I've been involved in many programs, projects with orphanages also. But I try to stay kind of away myself of kids, to don't touch, to don't be around, because many stories happen here around with people from other countries. Unfortunately, if you want, we can have another discussion about human trafficking. Sounds of Freedom. For those who really didn't see this movie, you can watch it and understand. So, but I said I will break that rule for once. So I put him in my shoulder and I said, "Jonathan, today you'll be a hero. You'll be famous. You'll have friends instantly. I know you don't understand me." So I put him on my shoulders, cereal bar, a new Coke, and instantly the kids stopped to play and came around. It was like, the movie of Zombie, when they hear a sound, like, what's going on? And Jonathan conquered the gringo, which, the stranger. Sure. It's not about Americans. It's about guys from other country. And they came in and they start to claim, Jonathan, Jonathan. He didn't know how to smile. That kid didn't know how to smile because actually he never had friends around. He was like a pet for them. So we start to walk, and I said to the little girl, please show me his house. Now, Rich was kind of a, hey, what are you doing? We are in the middle of target. You know, we have focus. We have a target. And I said, look, metals, people, method, people. I think I will choose people for 20 minutes. I will not be that much help. So, okay, he was, doesn't that. Okay, but I left. So, during the walk into the house, he started to move. Now I have a problem in my back. That's why I came to Peru for a surgery. Actually, I didn't came to Peru for serving or looking for leaders. No, I came to Peru for a surgery back because I was working in the sound system for many years and I broke my back. I had an hernia. So my mother-in-law said, you have to come to Lima and have a surgery. So I can do everything but except to move like from the left and right with a big with a heavy weight on my shoulders. So he started to, when I said, Jonathan, stop, please. What he was doing is gave the cereal bar 3/4 to the kids. So I stopped and I said, I remembered the Louis Armstrong, a small step for a man, a huge step of humanity. And I said, this is a small piece of attitude, a positive thing, but it came from someone. And in what moment? Yep. Someone, a kid that doesn't have anything.
Yep.
Anything. And he had a heart to share. Yes. And the moment he was, you know, when you stay on the Forbes first page, you forget where you come. When you are up, you forget. I mean, like, all your brain, it's about power. It's about people acclaim you, clap the hands. But he didn't get drunk of famousy. He had a heart. He couldn't speak. He couldn't smile. But he gave. So he had the whole right to eat everything. And people will not, the kids around will not be jealous, by the way. But I said in that moment, something will happen with this kid.
Yeah.
I don't know what. I don't have any clue idea. So we went to his house, actually. It was a cave. He had guinea pigs as pets and toys and food. Imagine how he was. So I decided, another rule I broke, I will try to help him directly. Normally, you know, as an NGO, you take a time, you have set up things, 6 months, budget, blah, blah, blah. I said, no, this is not something that I have to wait. It's, I was very emotional. Yes, I recognize at that moment. But actually, I knew that something was going on. So I come back. I said to Rich, understand. We went, we bought the clothes, we gave him. And in the moment, imagine, we bought the best we could, you know, Columbia, North Face, boots, pants, jacket, everything the best. But the kids, when I was taking the picture, I was looking around. By the way, one of the secrets in an NGO is to see the details.
Sure.
It's not about big things. The details make the difference. And I saw in the eyes of the kids like, Jonathan have US friends. Tomorrow he'll be hungry. He will knock the door. I will send him. I saw, I mean, I have 2 children. Yep. And I know when I give something to my little daughter, my son is like, he's 12 and she's 8 and he's like, what? And for me, so I said, she's little, she's a girl, you know, and me what? So I broke another rule and I promise, never promise something to Latinos, please. Don't promise them Mickey Mouse. You'll take them to Disneyland. You'll take them. No, because nothing will happen, probably. And those who are staying in a country, they will come to us. People will come to us and say, hey, someone from your group promised us. And I will send the Latino to your house. I said, please don't. So I broke another rule, and I promised to every kid, was like 70 around, that every one of them will receive shoes in 2 months. Imagine I come back, I tell to Rich, and Rich says, do you have the budget for that? And I said, I don't have any budget. I never did that before, but I couldn't expose Jonathan in this. So, you take a pill, you fix a problem, but you create another problem. One, so, right? Unfortunately, I lied. It wasn't 2 months, it was 2 months and a half. Okay. But I said, in Peru, we are late. In Latin America, it's late, like I was today. So we come back, and that's the end of the story. I tried to see how can we give the shoes to not be just one throwing the shoes, take the shoes, and that's it. I said we have to do something that will impact those kids. I don't want to be in front, because if they see me in the front, they will be like, oh, we need a gringo for each one of the little towns. Yeah. That's the solution. And the solution is not that. So I put this 7 years old kid, Jonathan, and one of my assistants, my coworker here in Peru, his name is Franco, and he's orphan. So I said, you guys will talk how God used Jonathan to bless the whole kids in a city. It's not about gringos. It's a young. Interesting, yeah. So to show them that you can be in leadership, doesn't matter where you come from. If you know many things, you have many skills. And we start to wash the feet of the kids. And it was very interesting that Franco started and other our guide, the person that was speaking in Moses, his name, and he's there full time. And he started to wash the feet of the kids, and the moms start to came to see what's going on. They thought I would be like, okay, we'll throw the things and take a picture. And literally, mom says, I can help. And I was like, oh, nice. The moms are helping. Now, this guy, Moses, he starts to cry. And believe me, they don't cry that much. And I said, yeah, it's so nice to see that. No, Valley, you don't understand. These ladies are washing the feet of other kids. They don't do that here. Wow. We didn't tell them. They saw and they follow. And those ladies, months ago, was throwing stones in the people who want to come and help. So what happening today is something unique. Now, be careful, because what happening here will spread the word in other villages. They will come what's going on. So I said, okay, to reach was wonderful. Actually, he found the $2,500 to buy the whole shoes, for the whole logistic, for the socks and all the implements. We found that the shoes are the vehicle for the kids. Yep. I repeat, it's a 4x4 SUV. Why? Because those kids are walking 1 or 2 hours in freezing. When I saw, first of all, the feet of the kids, I thought, oh, it's dirty. That's why we have to wash. Now, I was so surprised that the soap couldn't take that dark thing on the skin. And I said, we need to change the soap. And they look at me like, this is not dirty. They are the feet. It's burned.
They're burned, right?
Because the freeze. So that's why you have so much abandoned education. They abandon education. Why? Because they have to choose walk 1-2 hours or get home, and then they are going and take care the alpacas. Everyone loves baby alpaca. Well, someone take care about the baby alpaca. Most are the kids. Yep. So those shoes, it's a SUV in our country, or me in the coast, not in the Andes. So that's why it's so important. That's why we chose the shoes. So next year, he said, Valley, 2020, I'll send you another 2,500. Actually, was very kind from him and said, okay, we'll go to the next city, in the next village to do the same. Unfortunately, 2020 pandemic came, and I didn't know what to do. We couldn't go forward with the Life Saving Steps program, and we was almost shut down. And he said, "Well, this is it. I think well, we have to wait the pandemic."
Okay. And you couldn't do the work in person. You actually did have to stop it for a period. Okay.
Peru was, you to understand, 2 years of huge impact of pandemic. It wasn't
Okay.
like United States. 2 years of no schools. So imagine 2 years the kids didn't go, nothing in school. So was a shock for many. And the only thing we was able to do as NGO is to give basic baskets to the family. Why? And I think that will be for the next question.
So I'm going to get to all this in a second. My next,
Yeah.
so you also, so the one thing you said, you don't want to just be there giving out shoes. You are washing the feet. You encourage these other women come and help you wash the feet, and now you have sustained support so that when the shoes that you now gave them wear out, they can get another pair of shoes either next year or another amount of time. Do you feel confident that you can sustain that support now, especially with the attention that Motiv is getting?
The idea of the shoes and the whole program, Life Saving Steps, I think it's the greatest tool we have to win trust.
Okay.
Because it's there when the people start to, okay, now we understand that you are here to serve, to think integral in many ways, in health, in nutrition.
Yep.
And at some point, we found a way, even a shoemaker. Of course, I didn't like first the shoes that we bought the first time because it wasn't that good for like a durability, made in China or something. So I was looking for someone from Peru to build the shoes with the materials that we want.
Okay.
Best soil, like very,
cool.
very solid one. And in September 2020, I found finally the shoemaker that we were, and he's a widow. Very, very interesting.
Wow.
In the middle of Lima, nowhere, on the hills of Caraballo, one of the districts we call districts in Lima, like
Yep.
counties,
Distritos.
and
Yep.
distritos. And since then, we are making shoes as the quality we want.
I'm so glad I asked a follow-up question. That's beautiful that you have someone there and that you could sort of create certain specifications, to make the shoes more effective for what the children's need given the conditions that they're walking in.
Yeah, it's very important that, and also besides that, we take a podiatrist to have feet care for the children. Honestly, it's they say at some point that a lot of kids are dying. There is a percentage of kids that are dying because diseases and cold. So we try to actually kill that rate of death. Of course, we cannot fix everything, but at least trying to be as much as possible useful.
Wow, that's amazing. So I'll rewind back to what you seem to be getting at, and please correct me if I'm wrong, but you were talking about funding, getting people these baskets, especially during the pandemic. So my guess is that Bitcoin played some of a role in this. I'll hand it over to you from there. So when it came to bringing money in for the shoes, for these baskets, for any of the work you were doing, how much of that was now coming in Bitcoin, or how much of a role was Bitcoin playing in this?
So when, of course, the pandemic started, actually, I didn't have. It was overwhelmed. I was overwhelmed for so many requests, and I never happened. This never happened before. I never saw so much need in the moment, in matter of days, and I was a little bit panic. Because I had the possibility to travel as a director of nonprofit. I had that authorization on my car. You know, being alone like Will Smith in the Legend movie in New York, being by yourself in Lima, no traffic. That was great, but the need was so much. And I asked Rich, look, I don't like to ask for resources. This is one of my, I can say, my problems. I prefer the people that knows what NGO does, and if they trust in NGOs, can come and say, okay, I want to come across and help. I said, please help me with everything you think. And he said, look, I know someone that he knows someone that knows someone that has Bitcoin. And honestly, at that moment, I remember that I was like, oh yeah, I know Bitcoin, but what does bets, tradings
Oh,
with what I'm doing? Unfortunately, I was, so Bitcoin at that time was a word associated with those pyramids companies that
pyramid
give me
schemes.
pyramid schemes. Give me your $100. I will invest in Bitcoin. You never see Bitcoin. It's
That's
just
right.
a word, and I will give you 10 times. So I was like, what interesting. What does we don't trade now? We are in the middle of. He said, no. You'll receive in your wallet, in my wallet. Okay, you can have all. Oh, I didn't know that I can have access of a Bitcoin.
Wow.
I thought that that's a trader do something with the Bitcoin. So that captured my like. I was wondering. So he said, "Look, the only problem." And I said, "Okay, he can send, and I will exchange it to Soles, and I will buy." And he said, "Wait, it's not about exchanging. You have to go to a grocery store and buy groceries with Bitcoin." And I was like, "Yeah, okay, no problem, done." Uh, it's not my problem now. You know, we have to resolve the issues. So I opened the Google, the laptop, and I started searching for a market that accept Bitcoin in Lima.
Right.
We are talking about 11 million person, big capital, people from many countries. We are not in the middle of the jungle or the mountains. We're in the coast. So a lot of access. But what do you think?
I'm going to say zero stores, like literally no stores. Yeah.
I was looking for, and honestly, in my I was so we call bobo, dumb, or
like
fool.
dumbfounded.
I changed the laptop. I thought that my laptop has a problem, but was the same internet and the same Google. And my wife says, "Why do you want to change the laptop?" And I said, "I think it has a problem." So I try Internet Explorer. I said, "No, it's not possible. How is that possible to have a resource in my left hand?" And I tell her, to my wife, I think no, that is not possible. So I will renounce. I mean, like, I don't have it. And thank God for my wife. She said, "Put your butt back and make it happen. Don't complain. Don't find excuses." And I'm like, "Do you understand that this is a new technology? I don't know nothing about that. Do you look inside?" You are looking around, and I'm the guy of news. I like news, and unfortunately, the news in those days wasn't good.
Yeah.
You know, the numbers and everything. So I start to looking for those foros. We call foros those group that was talking.
Yep.
You know, talking groups in the internet. So I found a couple that was involved in trading, something like that, and I called them and I said, "Do you know someone?" So they lead me to a kind of a store that was closed that time, and they say, "Go and knock the door, maybe the owner will open." And I know that they was using crypto, so I went there. I knocked the door, and the guy said, "What do you need?" And I said, "Basic baskets, people dying." And he said, "Oh wow, whiskey, vodka, beer, hot
Jesus
dogs.
Christ.
That's for I have for a fiesta, a basic, but not for." And I said, "Look, I have more than $5,000 to buy groceries. I need hundreds of basic basket." And He said, no, I don't have so much things. And I said, no worry, call your owner, the supplier, sorry, and he will bring more things. He called, and what do you think? Surprise. The supplier says, I'm not bringing. And I was so surprised because in a country where people was complaining that people don't have money,
Yeah.
someone has
Right.
in Bitcoin, I have to pay, but you don't want to come. So I was feeling so frustrated, but so frustrated. I said, no, it's not possible. This is something that, and it opened in my heart, in my mind, the idea, if I have to this make it happen, I have to teach the people. It's about education.
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't found any other problem to don't bring solution. I mean, I discovered the wallets. I discovered how this works. I said, someone have to educate. I mean, who is that person? I'm pretty sure there are people here to educate. I found few maximalists in Bitcoin, but there was maybe more, looking for in a politics on a high way, not on the low level. So
right.
I start to teach, and this is how we start. We start to give basic baskets. The owner of stores was coming with them cars. We was teaching to the people. We was going to the little districts around Lima, big trucks, baskets, people sitting on the soccer field, me talking about Bitcoin. Imagine a middle of pandemia. Who is Bitcoin? When you start to talk about Bitcoin, it's not about lying. No, it's not. It's about who Bitcoin is not. Bitcoin is not a hacker.
Yeah.
He is not trading. He is not a U.S. Illuminati, whatever that sit on the floor. I mean, and it's not for millionaires.
Yeah.
Oh, that for those who want to be more rich. So anyone can have access of that. So, but unfortunately, we didn't have, of course, Linings. We had Coinbase, BRD,
right.
And other wallets on chain. Imagine doing transactions. The highest fee I was paying was $28.
Oof.
Imagine. I mean, I was sending $5, and I said $28. And do I have to come back $28? No, I said keep it those $5 because it costs much to send it. So it was very difficult in the beginning. Pandemia plus technology plus no internet. So imagine no schools. Now the family had just one phone. And by the way, I have here a sticker. Thank God for Bitcoin. It's a great book. You can you can read.
Is that what's his name? The Korean what's his name? Jimmy Song. Is that
Jimmy Song and Jonathan. There is a team that they make the book. So was very, very difficult in the beginning because people were spending a lot of megabytes on the Zoom for the classes of the kids, and they didn't have even internet. So we start like that until, let's see, a few months when we literally start to think, okay, this have to be something official. I thought that the donations will come for once, twice, third times, and will stop. But something happened. I remember first time when I received the donation. It took like 10 days until we did the first campaign with the basic basket. In that time, the price of Bitcoin starts to goes up. The end of 20, goes to 69,000. And but gradually every month. So I was like, what's going on? Today I have this, tomorrow more. And it was multiply. I remember the story of Jesus, when multiply the food and the fish. And I was like, oh, we don't have to spend the Bitcoin. We have to hold it to save it. Everyone talks about spending or throwing away. And I was like, wow, I was learning by myself. We didn't have a manual. That someone say, okay, do this, do that, come here, go to this conference, do that. You have no copy paste was impossible.
Yeah.
So I try to adapt this tool of what we do.
Yep.
And the first target we had, scope goal, is to not confuse the people. I'm not there to promise them a new government, a new world order. It's a tool. It's a tremendous tool. And I said, we will come back and teach. So during probably 4 or 5 months, we did that. And then the idea was to start Motiv and to do Bitcoin circular economy.
Yeah.
Like I said, we didn't know how to act, but thank God I was invited to Zonte in El Salvador in 2021 in April. So I had the chance to fly over there. It was so difficult for, the custom, the middle of pandemia. Here people was getting very suspicious, and I found little paradise of Zonte, surfers, tourists, and the guys from Hope House, Mike, a guy who has so much heart and generosity to serve the community, and hospitality, and Roman and Jorge and the other guys. And I said, wow, that's amazing, but I cannot do copy paste. I can learn some things, but Zonte, I cannot put Zonte in Comas, in Ancon, in Caraballo, those districts like desert. For those who don't know about Lima, Lima it's a desert. It never rains, or have a little like that, a little rain.
I didn't know that. Interesting.
Yes, because it's the coast and then the Andes come. So the clouds are not, even if you'll see cloudy, but it never rains. It's a desert.
Interesting.
And that's why we have so much. The whole coast has a lot of dunes, like in Africa. So the rally, Paris Dakar. I don't know if you know the famous race in the world, rally, Paris Dakar, was also for a few years organized in Peru, because it has the same dunes like in Africa, but worse for the cars, because the sand is too thin and destroy the engine very quick. So anyway, you can find here in Peru everything, actually. And so when I come back, I said, I like what I saw there, but it's kind of impossible to invite tourists to these districts. And I said, what should I do? Should I start just in one place? And I realized that the world needs to understand that this is not trading. It's not for traders tool. It's for everyone. I try to think, should I start just, of course, I was advised, pick one very nice place. In north of Peru, you have a nice beach where it's Mancora, called Mancora. Widest wave. You can live there nice. We'll support you. And I said, I'm not in Peru to have a nice a nice time. Of course, I like to enjoy the time with my family, but I think we are here to be an example for others.
Yeah.
I don't compete with any other part from the world. If any other circular economy hub want to be, in the Forbes, or you want to be on the top, awesome. I'm so glad for them. I love, but it's so difficult to keep being up. So I prefer to be an example and open different labs. To be kind of conejito de India, or a rat lab for others. Okay, let's try. Now, in Latin America, there is another problem. They don't like to talk about fail. If they talk about fail, I failed, it's like the end of the world.
Oh, interesting.
Oh, I mistake. No, this is the end of the world. So in US or in North, it's like failed, success.
Right.
Every failed, it's a step forward. It's an experience for the next time. And unfortunately, here it's like, oh, we failed. We don't we are not good for this thing. We have to
Mm.
drop it. Someone else have to come. And I said, someone else will come, but they will follow your example. So let's be we pioneers. Let's be we pioneers, and others will come follow us.
Yep.
So in since September 2021 until now, thank God we have 15 places where I can say I can give you so much information of the problem, the issues, different language, people that don't know how to read,
Yep.
how to use a cell phone. Cell phone. I don't use cell phone. Internet. We don't have internet. So from the whole problem issues we found until okay, now I have incomings. What should I do? Buy a bigger cell phone, a bigger TV. So my life is great. No, it's
Right.
about savings. It's about production. It's about, investing in health, investing in the kids' education. Nothing is for free. So every step we did, we realized that we have to have comprehensive look.
Yep.
I know that someone will be like, I want to fix the economic problem. I don't care the others.
Doesn't
But
work like that. Yeah.
Bitcoin, it's part of the whole steps of the life.
Yeah.
So when we get there to a community, we try to find, of course, the leadership. Because if you don't have a leadership with good testimony, good example, everything will shut down. If I want to do something, I know a gringo came a long time ago. They promised us. They made water fountains, and now it's not working.
Right.
They brought chickens. We eat all the chickens. We don't know what to do. So there was so many good intentions,
Right.
people that was coming and serve, but the idea was to have a comprehensive way
Yep.
to see, okay, education, medical stuff, moms, kids. So little by little, we start to implement Bitcoin in every single part of them life.
Yeah.
So I can say, yes.
Can I ask a question there?
Yeah.
So you go to El Zonte, if I'm not mistaken, you said you went there in September 2021. Is that correct?
No,
March? April. Okay. So
Yes.
April 2021, I think Bitcoin hit its first peak in price in May of 2021. Then it came back down significantly. I think it went from 60,000 to 30,000 US dollars. After that, it climbs back up to 69. But as you're now getting started and in the full sort of swing of things with Motiv Peru, the price gradually falls all the way down to just under 16,000 US. Were people nervous about this? So you're sharing with people that it's savings technology, which it is if you hold on to it for extended periods of time. But now we're sort of seeing how much the value fluctuates. Did this cause any issues in your approach?
Of course, if you think that someone can understand, I mean, someone that is unbanking. So
Unbanked, right? Mm-hmm.
Peru has 75% of unbanking or underground working.
Yep.
So you have just 25% that are paying
Taxes.
taxes.
Yeah, right.
The rest, unbanking, underground, black market, whatever you want to call. So imagine those are not using application. Now the pandemic came, and little by little the banks start to use some apps, but people wasn't educated to use application for that. So when we start in the beginning, they was like, okay, I download the app, I receive the Bitcoin, I pay with Bitcoin. That was the first. I love the events, sports, surfing, great. But don't think that in Latin America, you make experience one person to do one transaction and that's it.
Right.
Bitcoin will impact. I mean, it's good. Yes. It's the first step. It's the first step. It's not the process.
Correct.
The process have to have time. So we had to choose between doing just events or circular economy, and the donors was very more interested in circular economy.
Got it.
In few places in not the events. So we pick as Schindler List. It's not easy to do the Schindler List for those who didn't watch the movie. Okay, who's gonna be on the list? Because by the way, we are not millionaires. We don't receive millions monthly to do this. So we pick hundreds of family that the idea is from Monday to Saturday or the whole week they can spend sats. They can earn and spend sats during no, inside of them circle, like education, vocational class, sports, English class, kids club, nutrition, etc. Paying for and buying groceries.
Yeah.
So this is how we start to educate, making making them to use a tool every day.
Yeah.
Es como se hace usable. It's like using
Something
the tool
usable.
every day.
Yeah.
Yes. So it's it will be part of your daily life.
Yep.
And then they are starting. I can do a class. Yes. Bitcoin decentralized. Great tool. And they're like, hello, I'm decentralized. I don't have ID. I'm not banking. So Bitcoin and me are brothers.
Yeah.
Well, I present you on banking. And in the mountains, imagine most of the people don't know how to read and write. And the tool we was using since September was Bitcoin Beach Wallet or Blink in Lightning. But the wallet we have today wasn't in that moment because everything was in dollars. So imagine for someone who is the owner of a store in the middle of the Andes, they don't know how to read and write. They don't know how to make math. They have to know what's the price of the soles, which is the currency in Peru, and with dollars, 3.70. And now I have to divide. Okay, what do you buy? Water. So I have to give you change. It was so difficult.
Yeah.
But I'm so thankful that finally they hear us and they add soles and pesos and much other. So they made update the wallet. So today we can we can use it. And what I like at that wallet is they have a map. So we put on the map the red points, orange points, where the people can come and see, okay, where I can buy with Bitcoin.
Yep.
So today I can say we are in 3 different regions, 15 places, more than 700 families are doing probably 40,000 transactions. Honestly, I don't like to say too much the numbers. Actually, I didn't say any number on the conference because it's not about the numbers. It's about a community that will embrace a technology, and more than technology is community transformation. From people that are begging for one soul, now they can say, I can earn, I can have my own business, vocational class. I thought moms saying that I thought that I'm not used it for anything. I didn't know that I know to do things. Now they can do bakery, they can cook, sewing class. And now for 2024, I'm pretty sure you will ask me what plans do you have for 2024.
I want to hear, yes.
It's about pushing the tourism.
Okay.
Maybe it's one of the things that I led for the last, because I couldn't start with tourism, bringing people to spend cents where? Just in 1 or 2 stores. I think that's not totally circular economy. That's just point A to B.
That's true.
But that line have to be like Rambo or La Roca does like this to be a circle. Yeah. So what we try to do is to close the circle as much as possible.
Yeah.
We are perfect? No. Far away. Because we are humans and we work with people. So many confusion. People say that I'm from the devil, say that I'm from the Illuminati, or someone, and because NGO it's a word that maybe in the United States, like normally people I do think. Here in Peru, when you hear about NGO, you think in other stuff.
Okay.
Unfortunately.
Yep.
And when they hear NGO and Bitcoin, like, oh, wait a
Right.
second.
The worst.
Ooh, you find when I'm like, someone have to be an example.
Yeah.
And here we are.
I am going to ask you about 2024, but I think that I'm glad you brought up this point. One of the questions I usually ask people is sort of how they're feeling emotionally being the example. It takes a lot to introduce things that are something this new to people. I didn't know that the word, NGO or ONG, as they say it in Spanish, is. I didn't know it was such a dirty word in Peru. I had no idea. It doesn't surprise me because I know that a lot of abuse takes place within these organizations. But I didn't know that. And then Bitcoin in general, it's funny because it still sort of makes me cringe, the term Bitcoin. I wish that we just called it the public ledger for money or something like that, like something very whatever, just very boring. I don't know how else to put it because it's when most people think of it, they think, like you just said, scamming, trading, speculation. And those things are fine because it is a tool for saving. So there is an inherent element of speculation, but not the way most people are doing it on the internet. Like, look at the Lamborghini I bought. Look at this. We're talking about people who have never, if they were just using cash, they were always using money that was losing value. Now they're using money and saving money that will gain value over time, which will hopefully empower them. But to be the person that explains this to everyone, to embody that, it can be overwhelming. And as you said, you were overwhelmed by when the pandemic started. But I know that for me personally, the people that I've spoken with, people have gotten mad at me. People close to me have gotten mad at me. And it's not easy. It's really not, because you have to be willing to do the work that I think you're doing, the educational component, telling the story of who it's helping, actually helping people. And I think that's also the other thing that a lot of the Bitcoin community, I don't want to say gets wrong, but what they miss is that Bitcoin does not magically fix everything. I say this frequently. People need to teach people what Bitcoin is, how to use it. They have to get their hands dirty. They have to go to places where maybe they're a bit uncomfortable. It's not just like, oh, I invest in Bitcoin, I'm doing something good for the world. It is to a degree because you're helping to set a floor for the price of Bitcoin. So it is. I'm not putting anyone down. But what I tried to highlight is stories like your own, because if we are going to see greater adoption, and if greater adoption means that everyone on this network is going to do better financially, going to have more value, we have to do work. There's no other way about this. It's one of the reasons I've said this before too, but I'll repeat it. I've never gone to the big Bitcoin conferences. They're fine, but it's a lot of high level stuff, like you said, talking about things theoretically. Adopting Bitcoin, though, this is people from communities, people sharing their experiences, what's working, what's not working, what's been difficult, what can we share, how can we help? I think that's really, really where people's minds should be focused, because if we're going to talk about Bitcoin being a bottom-up phenomenon instead of a top-down phenomenon, then we have to be looking at what's happening at the lowest levels in the community. We have to be looking at the smallest possible levels to see what's working and what's not working. I'm sorry about the rant. What you said sort of inspired all that. And I just want the audience to understand that, there's a lot of work to be done. So if you're listening and you do understand something about Bitcoin, try to share that actual knowledge with someone, not just what you think the price is going to be in a year. Try to share, some of like what it looks like, how to actually empower someone who might not be super familiar or technologically savvy. It's a big part of the equation. This all has to happen person to person. There's not going to be any immediate reward for you helping someone. It's not going to be, but over time, you're helping to grow a network that is helping a lot of people right now, including yourself if you're a part of that network. So I'll stop my rant. I'll stop my rant there, but please tell me now, moving forward, it seems like now you have a bit of a better grip on how to approach what you're doing. You have more people who are now sort of active in these communities, taking over some of the role that you were probably doing, like taking on leadership roles. So where do you see Motiv Peru moving as we move into 2024?
Thank you, Frank. I think you resume everything in 10 minutes, and I'm glad, because I need 1 hour to resume
That's okay.
everything. And yes, as you said about the conferences, we have to. I remember we had the first conference in Peru about crypto, Lima crypto, the first one. I was invited to be participating there, and I remember the gadgets, the sounds around. All of them came in front of me like, "What do you sell? We don't understand." And I said, "Look, you guys are selling apps, business, and it's fine. I like it. But the thing is, someone have to be in the front line.
Totally.
So someone have to buy those. Totally. So my question is, who is going to teach? Who's going to educate?" And they're like, "I don't know. People will discover." I said, "I came from El Salvador. The first impact I had in 2021, I didn't want to say that, but I will say it, is the taxi driver stopped the car and he said, 'If you are talking to me about Bitcoin, get out here.
Right.
Or I'll come back.' And I said, 'What's going on?' 'No, because the president promised me $30 and I don't see it, my $30. And I said, 'Where is Bitcoin in your phrase? Because I don't understand. You said dollars and Chivo wallet.' And he said, 'No, I don't want to talk to you. I didn't find my $30. Someone stole it.' So what was I figured that the problem, it's about the education. Yep. Bitcoin was fine. Now, a president, he's fine. He did so many things, but he cannot teach one country in 6 months.
Right, totally.
It's how can you teach the people in 6 months everything?
Yep.
An entire country. I'm not talking about a small village where the people are doing transaction. It's about the whole country. So I realized that someone have to be in the first line.
Yes.
And they was like, "Valley, no, you have to talk with the president." I said, "Who?"
Yeah.
Because they give you just 1 hour to talk to you by phone on a jail, to talk to the president about what? Okay, Bitcoin, blockchain, you have to tell them about technology. And I said, "Do you think that no one talks about that?" I think, yes, they talk with, there are people here that talk, yep. But no one will listen. Yep. So I prefer to stay on the ground with the people. And that's it. In that conference, someone tell the story that he went to the president 4 times, telling them about technology, the blockchain, Bitcoin. And the president was like, right. "I don't understand. I don't know. This is it." So I said, do I have to wait on my new decks of NGO that the government will accept eventually someday? Right. And they'll be like, "Hey, but someone have to educate." And I'll be like, "I lost time." So right. I prefer to be in a front. Now, educate, like I said, is not about events. Yep. It's about doing more. So it's empower the people with this tool for them to create. So it's starting from scratch. Yep. Now, I can say that in each village we have people who have leaders. Now you'll be like, okay, how I didn't mention where we work in a village. Can be a house, can be a school, can be a local community, can be a church. Yep. It's different building. It's not about the building. You know, the NGOs say, okay, we need to buy a land, we need to build the building, and then put the banner, and the people will come to the banner. I said, this is not about the banner. Bitcoin will be everywhere. It's not that the building of the Bitcoin. I need to go there to find Bitcoin. No, Bitcoin, it's it could be on the store. Bro, let's meet everyone at the store. Okay. That's it. Of the store or this lady, Rosa. Everyone is Rosa or Maria in Latin America. So let's go to the Rosa store and have experience and let's talk about that. Now, of course, they figure out that the price of Bitcoin was in a volatility, and the Bitcoin Beach wallet, they decide to add stable or something sats. Like stable sats for those who really they earn 25 cents in one transaction. Yep. That's them gaining, and then they lost in 5 minutes. So as a owner, as a store owner, they use more in stable for the week. Yeah. It's and they pay the supplier. So our idea was to see, to find the person, the place, the group, and to determine how much time we spend with each family. It can be 3 months, can be 4 months, can be 5 months, with children, with the moms, with dads. So every community where we are has someone in charge and a team that is managing. And we have a main team in Lima, logistic and everything when we do events. Right now we are near of Christmas time, and we want to take advantage or aprovechar.
Yeah,
I don't know.
same
Yeah.
idea. No, it's okay. Yeah.
Take advantage of Christmas, to see if we can do like a bigger, event, and invite those families who are not included in this. There are people are starting. Okay, why did you choose that family? You didn't choose me. You have to choose. It's about researching in the community and find those who really wants to be part of vocational class, coming to attending the class every week, discipline, kids come clean. So there are few things where the people start to understand that we are not throwing gifts. It's we want to make them to produce, to educate, equip, and produce their own things to have incomings. So, and the kids don't drop school. But I want to say that we try to, one of the secrets is when you get to a place, start to find the tools they have. Don't bring the new things.
Right.
I love garage. The old garage, like a grandfather garage, to find, to discover the treasure. There is that thing helped me to find the tools they have and say, hey, this tool you can use to produce something, to do something. Oh, I didn't know. There are so many things we have in home. We have that we think that are not useful, but for others, it's very useful. So imagine I was in one of the little villages in the mountains, in a highest called Hawaii. We get there and I said, wow, this is the place. 20 ladies didn't have any cell phone. The internet, they had to climb mountains, to find the internet signal. And I said, wow, it'll be a hard work here. Valley, you didn't want, the nice little town in the coast, to surfers doing fine, everything. You want to complicate your life? Aprovecho, like hype yourself.
I don't want to dive too into it today because we have to wrap up soon, but I'm still fascinated, and I'm still not sure I completely understand why you want these levels of challenges in your life. And I say that lovingly, meaning I admire it. And I've actually been there. I've done work with supportive housing for active drug users here in the city. I've worked in rural Africa, inner city Venezuela. I've worked in places where it took me a lot of adapting. I didn't have a ton of resources, but I made the best with what I had, and I learned how the community worked, and I worked within that framework. I love those moments, but I guess my last question, what I want to ask you is, are you okay financially? I mean, I know that NGOs don't run on tremendous budgets. You have 2 children. You have to survive. You deserve to not just survive, but to thrive, given how much of yourself you put into the world and all the good you do in the world. So we don't have to get into the details or numbers, but are you okay? It's a lot of energy you're giving out to the world. It's a lot of work. Are you financially sort of supported enough through Motiv to make this all feasible and to make it sustainable?
Honestly, Frank, I'm very happy to talk about everything. Honestly, I'm not used to talk about me, because when I'm with you, I can. But normally people don't ask much because I'm gringo here. So the life of the gringo, it's done. It's it's raining with resources.
Money and everything else, right?
From the trees.
From the trees.
From the tree. In the airport, when you get to United States, someone is waiting you with the vehicle, and you don't pay taxes. You don't you receive. That's the concept here, unfortunately. The idea is in life, I think we are using probably everyday Waze
Yeah.
or Google Map. Now,
Okay.
the Waze or Google Map of my life, it's God. It's not a religion. It's not about, a specific denomination. Not it's God. And I ask the wisest ways
Yeah.
that I can find to show me where, when, and how.
Yeah.
And until now, I can say it will take like 20 hours to explain to you the whole journey we had in like I said before, I didn't want to come to Peru. For me, my life was Argentina, big steaks, ice cream, and soccer. Everyone loves Messi, Maradona. But
Yeah.
here I said, no, I don't understand Peruvians. They speak another language. Well, I knew it that God wants us here. And there is a phrase that I learned from a guy who came and served the native communities more than 60 years ago. His name was Jim Elliot.
Okay.
He's not fool who gives what he cannot keep to gain what he cannot lose.
Okay.
He's not fool who gives what he cannot keep. It's the life to gain what he cannot lose. The hope I have every day is that God can use us as a family to be an example for those in need, but actually to push those leaders that can lead them communities.
Yeah.
People in Latin America need good examples. It's not about, like I said, a religion thing or something. It's about to have values,
Yeah.
because you can empower people with tools. They'll bring money, but they'll be like, and then what should I do with the money?
Right.
People like they don't know what to do.
Yep.
They don't have values. I spend it here. The alcohol, it's a huge problem.
Right.
In the Andes, they drink from 3 p.m. to night because it's cold, because they said it's nothing to do and it's the only thing, and that brings a lot of problems. And if we don't teach the kids, they will start, values. They will start to looking for other things around drugs and bad example in the girls who really had abused, the moms that were abused. Do you think, okay, they can find Bitcoin as a great tool, but they have a heart that is broke and a mind who is it's entenebrecida, it's like in dark, with so much hate. And we have people that are psychologists and the whole team that come across and to heal those problems that they came through in life. And there is so much child abuse, and we try to give the whole tools possible so they can say, I have hope, and also I have peace. Joyness, happy.
What you just said, that last part, I'm going to combine that with something you said earlier, but I think your approach is not paternalistic, which means you're not coming to these people saying you have all the answers. You're there trying to work with their framework, their current mental framework, psychological, emotional framework, meeting them where they are. You are bringing a tool to them that could be something, part of the equation that catalyzes growth in their life. But without understanding business a little bit, without trying to heal some of the psychological and emotional wounds, without letting all of the good work you're doing be a catalyst for them to start to empower themselves and not only just get from a bad place to zero, but to joy, right?
Yeah.
From zero to happiness. Correct. Right? To real thriving, human thriving. And that is the tagline for this podcast, Bitcoin and Human Flourishing. Because I think what we're looking for here is not just, we know that Bitcoin solves problems. Ideally, it plays a role, not by itself. It's not the only thing, but it plays a role in releasing human capital, in letting humans share who they are with the world. Yes. Capital, I don't mean like money. I mean, like, we want to hear your voices. We want to see who you are. We want the world to see you. And Bitcoin can be a part of that, but there are many other factors that are involved in that. And before your talk, I had never heard anyone speak about it quite the way that you did. you put into words the way that I had seen it for a long time. That's why it moved me. Much like you said, those orphans, they don't cry often. I don't either. And that day it was you, Seb, who's doing work in Virunga in the Democratic Republic of the Congo, and Reina Chicas, who gave the first talk that day about how she's become a community leader through Mi Primer Bitcoin. You three broke me down. And because I think that's the story that I really want people to understand. There's real empowerment happening here. It's not paternalism. It's not huge systems. It's not the UN. It's not the NGO saying we fixed everything. We brought gifts. It's real. It's genuine empowerment. And you do really beautiful work. I want to thank everyone for listening all the way through to this. If you can support Motiv Peru, there's ways to donate online. I will do so right after this. But the work Valentin is doing is amazing. Obviously, please consider going on a trip to Peru. You can spend some sats there. I have been to Peru. It's a beautiful country. I don't know if you have anyone near it. I was in Punta Hermosa. I forget which part of the country it was. It was gorgeous, though. I was there.
South.
Yeah. There, Machu Picchu, and then in Lima for a little while. It's a beautiful country, lots of different geography, topography, but it is poor. I remember that very vividly. It's very poor. And if you have some sats and you want to go see a beautiful place and maybe sort of share some of your wealth with these communities, this is a beautiful way to do so through what Motiv is doing. Before we wrap up, Valentin, please let people know where they can find Motiv Peru online, where they can find you online, and anything else you would like to share.
Yes, if someone wants to help us to retweet and visit our Twitter or X, it's Motiv Peru. Simple Motiv Peru. We are there with the whole stories, YouTubers that came and made, don't trust, verify. They came, and I hope everyone, if you want to visit, you can do the tourist part, paying in Bitcoin. We have a partnership with a tourism company, and eventually we'll give the whole steps for that, and spending half a day or a day visit us and visit the community.
Yep.
more than us. So we are in Twitter, and of course it's the webpage motiv.org.
Yeah, perfect. Thank you. And I will include all those details in the show notes for both the podcast and the video here on YouTube. Valentin, I know you're a busy person. Thank you for taking the time to do this. It was a great honor to meet you and to speak with you in depth about more of this. And I want to say, I know that we're going to talk soon, and I know our paths will cross many times in this lifetime. I could feel it in my bones and in my heart. So thank you for what you do, and I will be in touch.
Thank you, Frank. Thank you for your invitation. I appreciate it a lot.
My pleasure. My pleasure. All right, everybody. We'll talk soon.